Okay, that's weird. Ah,
Hmm.
lovely.
Technology.
Test, test. Sorry, folks. Something went goofy on us.
I'm not really sure what happened there.
I lost internet connection. There we are. Now we
Oh,
got this, and I don't know why it looks like that, but I don't care. It'll work. Okay, we're back. Sorry, folks. There's Krista. That's not Krista. That's Jenny. It says Krista here, but it's Jenny. That's Jenny. That's Beth. Oh, there we now we're back. So Jenny White on the left from Lucky Jonquil, and do I sound okay now? Yes, I
yeah,
think
you
so.
Yeah,
sound
you
good.
sound fine.
All right, Beth in the
Mhm.
middle, me on the side there. Sorry, folks, for that rough opening, but something happened to my internet connection and it went away. And then it came back. So, yay for that. Welcome back, everybody. Jenny will be our guest Sunday, but thought it would be fun to have her and we can talk about some of her toys. Yeah, fun toys.
Yeah,
So,
fun toys.
so she joins us tonight, but Sunday will be a full blown show with Jenny. Get to learn about her and what she's doing and with her business, Lucky Jonquil, and so on and so forth. So, thanks for joining us tonight. Um, this will be
Thanks.
a night
I'm
to ask
thrilled to be
questions of
here.
Jenny too. That's part of why she's here. Plus, she's just fun to talk to. So there you go. Um, so
Why
that'll
not?
be Sunday. Then a week from Sunday, Robin Rosignol will be with us. And so we'll be talking about needlepoint techniques and other things, color and things like that. So that'll be fun. Regular podcast next Wednesday. So regular podcast next Wednesday. And then there will not be anything. Let's see if I can do this right here. Um, of course I can. There won't be anything because Margaret and I will be in Phoenix to
Oh,
meet our new granddaughter, Brooklyn. So that's Brooklyn.
oh, what a cutie.
She is 5 weeks old today.
Congratulations.
Yep. So the Michelle, our daughter-in-law's parents, they're there now. We were asked to stay away till February so that they could get themselves oriented with a new baby, and so we're going to be there next week, uh, actually 2 weeks. So we get to hold the baby, change diapers, and be grandparents, and when she's screaming and hollering, leave. So,
Oh, I bet Mark is excited to hold that baby.
yep, yep. So we're looking forward to that. But that's little Brooklyn today, um, 5 weeks. So yeah. So
Sweet.
in next Wednesday we'll have a podcast, and then the Wednesday after there will be nothing because I'm going out there taking my bike, and I'm going to hold the baby and ride my bike in the desert, and that's going to be yep, no recording.
Yeah.
It's one of
You'll
those
be
where
far
we
too
have to put
busy. You'll have your hands full.
yeah, and plus we have to put a magazine together while we're out there. So yeah, we'll
Yeah.
we'll be occupied. So anyway, we're pretty excited about little Brooklyn, and can't wait to meet her. Um, yeah, we had to get there's some shot for I guess diphtheria and all that stuff. We had to get that booster, and been staying away from people and wearing masks all the way out there and the whole bit. Just so we make sure we get there and we're not sick because that would wreck
Right.
everything. And yeah, so that's what we'll be doing. Um, so on the 22nd, then there will be nothing. Now, a number of people have asked if Margaret Hagan, she was the lady a couple weeks ago who had all the amazing samplers.
Hmm.
Some people have asked if she could come back for a round two. And I wrote to her, and she agreed. She's excited to do that. So the tentative date now for Margaret to come back with more is March 15. More details to come. I don't have that confirmed with her, but that's a tentative date. So we all really, I think a lot of people really enjoyed looking at her samplers. Those were, yeah,
Yeah, she cost you some money.
she did. Yep, 3 charts from the sampler,
Uh,
and that took some self-control to just stay with 3 charts. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
The only drawback is that's a Canadian operation, so it had to go in the Canadian mail.
Oh,
It could be
sorry.
Easter for all we know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
but that gives you time to finish something so you can start one.
yeah, okay, Beth. Okay. So yeah, I got 3. Yeah, that is sampler. If you are into samplers, wow, that'll suck up a
Yeah.
couple hours. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So do that. So Margaret Hagan on the 15th, but stay tuned, it might change. And then I had mentioned a couple weeks ago about wanting to, looking for people who would volunteer to be part of our Stitcher to Stitcher interview series. And 2 people have volunteered. If you're interested in doing that, it's just Beth and me talking to you, Stitcher to Stitcher, and just learning what you do and what you're interested in, and so on and so forth. If you're interested, write to me, Gary at WeTalkFiber.com down there at the bottom, and just let me know, and I'll put you on the list. And we'll start in March doing those 15, 20 minutes. You won't have to do anything. You just have to show up. I'll send you 4 or 5 questions that we'll use to frame the discussion. But all you got to do is show up. And I think we're going to do them video, though. I've been thinking about a lot about that. I think we'll do video so people can show some of their work if they want to. So we'll do that. But if you're interested, we'll start in March doing those and get some recorded and then start releasing them. So it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. I have no idea, it's been so long, if I announced the winners from the last time we had a drawing, but Rainbow Gallery Threads went to Kathy Shannon and Barbara Sack, and Leah Kitts went to Nanette McDougall Dykes and Jan Michaels. I think I announced those, but just to make it official for the record, that's who won the last time we had a drawing. So tonight we have another drawing. We have a drawing. And my mouse, there's my mouse. I'm sorry, it appears that I'm unable to operate a computer tonight.
Oh, look at that cutie pie.
That's Brooklyn. She's our new granddaughter. I don't know if you heard about her, but yeah.
Yeah, she's cute, and she looks good in red.
Yeah, I think so.
She's cute.
Yeah.
She's a cutie.
Yeah, this is Brooklyn. She's our granddaughter. Yeah. Yeah. And next Monday, I'm taking one of our grandsons to a climbing wall place.
Oh.
Yeah, he loves that little monkey all over
I
the
always
place.
enjoy that. That's a ton of fun.
Yeah, and so Grandpa doesn't mind doing that. It doesn't give him a minor heart attack when he climbs.
He's not afraid of anything. He's all harnessed
No.
in. He's all harnessed
Oh,
in
okay.
anyway. He can't
Okay.
get hurt. Yeah, no, they get all harnessed in, but he just flies all over that place. I just stand there and watch him. And,
Okay.
yeah, he goes up to the highest one and jumps and screams and hollers all the way to the ground. Yeah, he's fine. So drawings tonight. Now, just for those who are new, the drawings are for people who watch the live show only. And what you do is you it's right down there at the bottom of the screen. You send an email during the show to Gary at WeTalkFiber.com. And we're going to draw for 2 different kinds of things tonight. So you can enter one, the other, or both. It doesn't matter, but only enter once in each. And so the first one is I bought this chart, and Karen Dudzinski from Textured Treasures was kind enough to send a second one to give away. This is called Quaker Ball, and this is her new chart she's introducing at the Nashville show. And so this is called Quaker Ball. So I have one of these, and this is what it makes up into. So it starts, you do all the stitching like that, and then this. What? Go ahead.
I see. Now you held out on me. I didn't know you were ordering that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I refrained, but now
I keep getting Circle of Death every little bit.
oh no.
Oh.
You must be having bad Wi-Fi tonight,
Well,
internet tonight.
I switched over to Wi-Fi because the problem was the Ethernet cable was acting up.
Oh no.
And that's always, that's so
Wow.
much faster. Is it a lot?
I'm not getting it, but
Nobody inherited isn't getting it. Let's hang in there. Maybe it'll settle down. So anyway, Karen Dazinski made this ball design, and that's what it looks like when you put it all together after you stitch it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah. So going back to the main screen, you guys are on. So this is the chart that she provided
ooh,
way, and of course, all the instructions. There's beads. There's everything, and I'm sure you can get the thread kit from her. I know she was waiting for beads till the end of January, but anyway, so this goes to someone. So if you want to be entered in the drawing for this, you send an email, and in the subject line you put the word ball, and then in the main body of the email you put your name and address. Just put ball in the subject line. Okay, that puts you into a special box where I can do the drawing. Then I do the drawing right after. So that's one. And then the other one is two kits. Now these are full kits from Krista West at Avlia. These are full kits. So it's the hoop, the threads, the cloth, the needle, everything you need. So this one is Mira Medallion. And this is an embroidery kit now. This is not cross stitch. So an
okay. So
embroidery.
is it the pillow? Is it the pillow
Yes,
one?
this is the pillow one. Yes, that's the kit. Yep,
Mm.
the kit is the pillow one. And then the other one is, this is my favorite, Athenian Palmette. Both of these are the pillow kit. So those are the two, everything. The whole
No.
shoot match. So if you want to be entered in the drawing for this, you send a second email, Gary@WeTalkFiber.com, and then in the subject line you put Avlia, and then your name and address in the email, body of the email, and then you go into a drawing for that. So you're going to enter one, the other, both, but only enter once in each one, and we'll do the drawings afterwards, and then these will get mailed out to you. So those are the drawings tonight. Whew.
Yeah. So when are you starting Quaker Ball? Sorry, I had to ask.
Right after
I
I
have
get
enough
done,
time to order
right
it, is
after I
what you're
get done
telling me.
using all of this thread on Botany Bay, that's when. That's when, right there. There's a,
Okay.
there's a
All right.
sampler sitting over there. Lady Mary is sitting right there. Botany Bay is ready to go. Ready to go.
Okay. All
Then
right.
we'll
All
worry
right.
about that. Yep. So, okay, so that's the drawing. I'll leave it up at the bottom so you can find it if you want to. Um, enter one, the other, both, but only enter once. Then something that came up here at just the Jenny, we'll get through all this in a minute here, so just keep whining. You're fine.
Yeah.
I'm finding. I'm happy.
Oh,
Something
yeah.
that came up this afternoon. Kim at Sassy Jack's has a few openings for her garden-esque workshop with Jackie Duplessis on Wednesday the 15th and Thursday the 16th in Asheville. So there's a few openings, and you make this, you make these things. Okay. So if you're interested in going to Asheville and taking this class, March 15 and 16, sign up, but do it quick because she has to put in her order for stuff within the next few days. So act quickly. But what fun that would be to do that little project there. So
Yeah.
yeah. So if you're interested in the area, can make the day trip or just one night over, and this includes lunch, two receptions in the evening and lunch on the full day. So it's a half day on the 15th and then all day on the Thursday the 16th, and you get a lunch during that day and then receptions at the end of both the days, in addition to all the materials, blah, 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 blah. So if you're interested in traveling to Asheville and Sassy Jacks and seeing Kim and Jackie and doing this class, there's a few openings left. She didn't say how many, but sounded like
No.
there were at least 3 or 4. Get on it, sign up, because she's got to order things. So make haste. So I just bring that up. If you're interested or know someone who might be, pass it on. Yes, all of that. Let's see. Oh, and I keep forgetting, folks, two things with this new schedule. Uh, subscribe. If you're not already, subscribe to YouTube, subscribe to Instagram, but get your name on the list, then you'll get notified when these things come up and when we're doing things. And then I appreciate you remembering, but you'll get notified. So uh, uh, be sure to do that and pass the word. If you're enjoying what we do here in our podcast, really appreciate if you pass the word. Tell others what we're doing and get them to listen in. So, okay, Jenny sitting there winding bobbins. It's very therapeutic. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
It is. It's great fun.
It's my happy place.
Yeah. It's just mindless
I
whatever.
did actually just buy a pattern today, but now I'm winding for that project.
There we go. See? Getting ready. Yep.
Yep.
So Jenny, her business is Lucky Jonquil, and she is making some of the coolest things with her laser cutter. I was showing on Instagram, she makes these swatch. Where am I at? Yeah, there. So tell us the story. So these are the swatch drops, thread drops. And the cool
Yeah,
thing,
they're
yeah, go ahead, Jenny. You tell it better than I do.
well, I mean they're just that. They're swatch drops that have um floss drops. They're in many ways just a standard floss drop, but I added a space on them for stitching. Um, Predominantly, all I was thinking was cross stitch. But Gary, you've done a fantastic job opening my mind to what could be done with them. But I have, oh man, I fell in love with the color range of floss more than I actually ever stitch it. So I'm more of a thread collector.
Ah,
Um,
Oh,
but
yes,
I
great.
have this wonderful stash of Weeks Dye Works and Color and Cotton and, hand dyed and variegated flosses. But, those always stitch up a little bit differently. And I thought, well, man, it'd be really nice just to see what they look like stitched up without committing to them in a project. Because one of the things I do is I take a project and then I completely rearrange the color framework. It's a compulsion. I can't just leave things alone. And I thought, well, that will make some of that a little easier. Um, and I just came up with this random idea of just applying a little swatch to it. Um, and then I had to figure out how to cut it and cut it consistently. And it seems people like them.
yeah, they're great fun.
I've gotten a lot of really really great feedback.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. So I took, Botany Bay requires 21 different colors. So I bought whatever the pack was that would give me 25, I think. But it was just one of those things where I got them, and I thought, hey, I'm going to get out the stitch books because I have several little stitch books, and I'm just going to stitch a different stitch
Do you
in.
have a piece of white paper, Gary, that you could put behind there?
They're hard to see when it's clear.
There you go.
And so I thought, well, I'm just going to stitch um, a different stitch on each one just for entertainment purposes only. And had a great time because it takes all of 5 minutes to stitch one of these things. And so
An
then,
instant gratification project.
yes, yes. So I just had a great time. I just got out the stitch books and just started playing with them and was just going to do a few, because I just wasn't going to take the time. Before I knew it, all right, I got 10 more to do. I might as well do them all. And so I just had a great time just figuring out what stitches would work in here and do a little compensation, but yeah, it was a blast. And it's interesting stitching on clear acrylic because, well, here's a classic example, black. How, I don't know if you can see it, but there, see how all the threads in the back that you wouldn't see if you were on cloth show up, but you know, there's nothing you can do about it. But it's just
No.
fun. But then she's got, you know, so here's where the main skein of thread goes in the big hole, and then she's got over here a side loop. So when you pull strands out of one of the 6 strands, when you pull them out, then these go over here. So there's only 2 left. These go over here, and yeah, I like it. It's fun. Yeah, yay.
Well, I like the idea that that's a good way to see how the colors variegate a little bit because they are all different, you
Yeah,
know, and you want to see how they flow. It gives you that opportunity.
Hmm.
yep.
Yep, it really does. I also had an idea for blended chips where the holes are equal size across the bottom, but I haven't put those together yet.
Where these holes are equal size.
Yeah, where those holes are equal sized, because the idea would be for cross stitching, sometimes they don't have the color that you need. So instead, can you see that? You would use one thread from each, which
Oh,
would give you a different color, but
yes.
the swatch, the drop portion could have the 2 different threads that you're using side by side.
Oh,
That's a great idea. I'm getting ready to do a needlepoint project. It's through EGA, and part of the learning is how to go from a darker to a lighter. So you're blending a white in
Ooh,
with it. And
yeah,
so, and then so you have the white or an off white, a dark, and a medium or a light, and you blend them. So you really need 3 holes, but still, it would be nice to have those because you've got 4 quadrants, so you're going to be repeating your threads again. So it'd be nice to have them already.
yeah,
Okay, I've got this blended set. I can use it, and it's silk. You're using silk on it, so you know, be nice to be careful with it.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But yeah, that's a
So
cool idea.
so you're
I like
blending
that idea.
3 threads so that you're shifting hues and stuff. Okay, all right. Well,
Hmm. Hmm.
I think that's a thing I could tackle.
Jenny
Yeah.
making
So
mental
Because yeah, I
notes.
keep playing with these, but they don't have anything attached to them.
yeah. Yeah.
So okay, so here I'm going to put you on, Jenny. So you have the clear and then frosty, and then you were playing with glitter.
I have a couple of just real basic tones right now, and yeah, the clear are out there. So the clear is just really a crystal clear.
Yeah.
But then there is the frosted, and the frosted has it's translucent, but you're not going to get that same level of show through
Mm-hmm.
that you have. Um, and then actually, my favorite one is just the white.
Oh,
It's a real milky white color, and
Hmm.
usually the colors just pop across it.
yeah.
And it's got a both the the frosted and the white both have a side that's matte and one side that's all shiny. Um, but I thoroughly like both of those just because they're not so crystal clear.
Yeah.
But yeah, I finally got some really expensive glitter acrylic and felt like I had honed in enough stuff that I started playing. Is that even coming into focus?
Yes. Well, to
I
see the
started playing
glitter.
with the
There we
glitter.
go. Yeah, just hold still. There it
Yeah,
goes. That's fun.
but yeah, I've just been having a wonderful time with playing with the colors. next to it.
Yeah.
So I haven't stitched up hardly any. I've been too busy cutting and peeling and
Yeah,
All
'cause
right, now I
playing
have
with
an
just the
I have another,
manufacturing end of it.
because some of the patterns I'm thinking of, like some mirabilias and lavender and lace, you have to add a blending filament. You add,
Yeah.
and that's always a pain because once you've got that silly thing threaded, because you put a little knot in the blending filament and then thread.
Hmm.
But it'd be nice to have a place to, I wonder. Now you got me thinking.
See, that's what happens. Yep.
Well,
Oh,
it's
and
those sort of things that I really just wanted to that I've been playing with. All of those little, as I've become aware of other little things, um, just the stashing and the organizing and having ways of making things easier, but also elevating it so that it's just as pretty to look at and enjoy as you're stitching than
mhm,
if it's all on pieces of paper or cardboard pieces that are bending.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, and I've stuck to, clears and whites and frosted tones just because I love the rainbow colors of the floss so much. And color theory, says that, some clash. They don't necessarily look so great together, or it shifts the tone of a color. So if it's something that just kind
right.
of fades to the background and solves the problem and allows the thread to shine, that's really what I was going for.
Yeah. I got to get some of those white ones. Somebody asked about the pen, and the pen to write on these things so that
Come on.
it stays. This is the one I ended up
Yeah,
with.
that's the that is a perfect one to get. I actually have my pen
Oh,
stash
there.
in
Okay.
case
Yeah.
you had
Here.
mentioned
Here.
that
Full
earlier.
screen for
Now
you.
I've got everything
Yeah. Take us
together.
through the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of people think when you say Sharpie, we now think of like this one. This is not a permanent marker. Sharpie got into the ink pen field, and it's fantastic for writing on paper. It is not permanent. It's not going to write on a hard plastic surface. It's just going to bead right up and run off. Same with if anybody knows the microns, fantastic art pen. Also not going to write on a solid surface. It is not a permanent marker. So these are write out regular pens, not going to work. But the Sharpie that you just had, the ultra fine point, that one's perfect. Fine point, the regular standard Sharpie, um, will do just fine, but with those stubby tips, not going to be the best for actually writing. So I would recommend what you had. But I do have two other ones that I really like. Um, One is the Sakura Identi pen, and it has a dual tip. So you've got real fine tip on one end and a slightly larger tip, much more like a regular Sharpie on the other end. It's going to be a permanent marker. You're going to be able to write on the acrylic with no issues. It's not going to beat up on you. But similarly, they're put out by the same people that make the Micron. There's also the Micro Perm, which is basically a micron, but it's a permanent marker. So it's a different ink type. So you have, let me put it in front of my face so you can actually see it.
Yeah.
Ooh, hovering opposites. There we go. So yeah, you've got the nice and tiny little pen nib there. And it writes beautifully and gets a little smaller than the fine ultra fine tip Sharpie can. So I was winding some clear bobbins and uh, just started on these earlier, and I don't know if you can see it, but the writing on there it's pretty small,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but really nice and clear, and it's not going to go anywhere. Um, so they come in different sizes. I have a an O1 and an O5. Both of them are fantastic. Just one's a little thinner than the other, but those are my favorites. I would sell them in the shop. It turns out that the manufacturer won't allow you to sell them unless you have a physical store.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay. Be snooty. Jeez.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I'm like, okay. Yeah, I kept trying to order them from a wholesaler, and that portion of my order kept getting canceled. And I finally, called and said, "What gives?" And they
Yeah.
were like, "Oh, well, so apparently nobody told you, and it wasn't marked that you don't have a brick and mortar, so they won't sell to you." And it's just contractual, wholesale agreement. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, well,
Interesting.
the things you learn.
When I got these, I couldn't get anything to write. I've got 4 or 5 different felt pens, and they all you'd write on them, and you just take your finger. I just used a Kleenex, and it just wiped right off. And so Jenny told me what to get, but in the meantime, I had just cut pieces of artist tape and put on there, and I had labeled them all that way with artist tape, and that worked well because when I removed that artist tape to write on them once I got the right pen, the artist tape no residual anything on the acrylic. So if you want to go that route,
Nice.
it worked perfect. There was no glue left over of any kind. Rub your finger on it with just as smooth as when it was new. So that's an option. But then if you get the right pen, then you write on there, and then just regular rubbing alcohol cleans that right off. And Beth had gotten
Yeah,
me for Christmas. She got me this set of thread drops, also acrylic,
those are
and
pretty.
yeah, they're
Hmm.
really cool. And right on these too. And then when you use the alcohol, comes right off. So that makes them
Comes right off.
really reusable. It's not like
Hmm.
a smart board or something where you write on it and there's always the ghost of what you wrote. These clean right off of this acrylic. So it's very good in terms of reusability. Really good, yeah. So
So yeah.
and
All
fun.
right. So, and now we're getting questions about your bobbin pegs, and yeah, because I think I'm going to have to get some because look at I've got this. Well, you took me off, but
Whoops,
that's all right.
I'm
Show
putting
the
you back.
bobbin threads. Oh, this this
The bobbin
thicker. It's
threads.
like a cry neck, and I need those to wind this stuff on.
So yeah,
Here, I'll go to Jenny
getting
now.
things to
There you
come
go.
into focus is kind of hard. So
Oh,
the bobbin
nice.
pegs are um, designed basically for pearl cotton. I had been winding my pearl cotton on clothespins, and I would catch my fingers when I would wind it, and then something would happen and it started falling off and getting messy on me. And then, doing this to catch all of that up doesn't actually help you keep it untangled. Um, but I had, when I would wind these, I would end up with it sliding off or me catching my fingers on it or something. And I was like, I should be able to put some pieces together. So these came into to being actually right around Christmas. Um, so let's see. Well, you can see the shape here. Um, there's a little notch here in this area on all of the sides, and that helps keep all of the thread to the center because it just gives it something to settle into. But at the top, at the prongs of each of these, there's also a notch. And so when these fit together, that notch allows you to have a place to thread to hold the end of your thread so when you wind, and then when you're done winding, you just slide it into the notch that is remaining. um, they're a little loose when you start. I think Gary had mentioned that earlier. I don't know if that was pre-show or not,
That was
but
pre-show,
by the
yeah.
time you have the thread on them, yeah, the tension is actually really really lovely. And they're also acrylic, so you can write your number right across the end there. It's not a ton of space, but in general you don't normally need it to be. You can put on one side if it's a 5 or a 3 or an 8. But so I have Yeah, this one's DMC's 503. So I have that written on it. Right now, I only have these cut in clear, but I have a portion of my stash all wound up
Now there it is right
and
there.
super pretty.
That's what,
Look at
yes,
that.
Yeah,
Look at that.
yes.
See?
That's
yeah.
pretty.
I'm in love with this. This makes me happy. I don't need to stitch with it. It makes me happy.
Well, it does. It looks
I will
beautiful.
say that it really does. It sits up on top of my floss cabinet and just sits out of the cat's reach where I can just admire it. Um, I will say the base of this was actually designed for clothespins by another fantastic maker who caters to our community. Um, and this was a special piece of cherry that she got. Most of the time, it's plywood and also very pretty. But the cherry just called my name, and so I got it for myself for my birthday last year. I was like, "Oh yes, please send me that one." Um, and had it lined up with clothespins until I got all of these carved and made, and then spent the next couple of days just winding floss and pearl cotton and figuring out what fit and making myself very happy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and so that's lovely because like if you're doing wool applique, you use a lot of those thicker threads, and it's nice not to have them.
Mhm.
It'd be cool to have them out so you could look at them and choose what you're going to use. Uh-oh.
I mean,
Uh,
it's even a fantastic place if you're playing with color palettes to
mhm.
just have a place
Mhm.
where you can set it and actually look at it, and then you're just interchanging as you're trying to refine what you want to use. But yeah, if you just have a straight rainbow that you like, um,
Yeah.
I mean, it's decorative in and of itself. It makes me smile. That's really all there
Right.
is to it. It just makes me
We're
smile.
we're gonna we're gonna change the name of this show from Stitch Hour to Spend Your Money Show. Yeah. That's what we're gonna do.
So
Yeah.
someone wanted to know about the lucky floss stars too.
Oh, that's the one thing I don't have sitting here on the desk.
You can go get it. Go
They're
get it.
about this big.
Go,
Go get it?
yeah.
All right, I'll be
Yeah,
right back.
go get it. That's fine.
Ooh.
I will say on these now, if these are really cool. This is a full skein of number 5 on there, and I didn't have the right pen at the time, so I just jammed the little paper wraps down in the end here. But I'll actually write on them. But when you get them, you'll get them and you'll put them together, and you'll go, wow, these are really loose and sloppy, and they are. But when you put the thread on, that all goes away, and then the end where you stick the thread then becomes a functional thing, and it's absolutely perfect. She's got the tolerance just right. It's absolutely perfect so that when you put that thread in this slot, right, like that, there's enough room that it goes in there without you having to yank and pull on it, and it's perfectly done. And then the wood base, man, to have those all set up like that in the wood base, oh, that's the way
I
to do it.
know.
That's the way to do
I
it. Yep.
know.
So these
Oh,
these are just like the thread that Beth had. Any of your thicker threads, these are fantastic, and
so
they're not. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if Deb DeCrane's still on, remember all those threads we purchased, Deb? We could wrap them on those, on the clothespins things.
Yeah, go for it.
Deb,
And
Deb.
they're flat, so they come apart, and then so you can store them flat, so they aren't taking up a lot of room. But yeah, I actually started winding some of my number 5 stuff on these things that I just have laying in skeins in a drawer. Just yeah, whatever. So these are very cool way of storing your thicker threads, without a doubt. Your Karen collection threads, any of those thick
Oh, yes.
threads that are on skeins and can get unmanageable, and you got the extra pieces and all the stuff that goes with it. These are really good for that.
That's a bobbin peg with a full skein of floss. So They're nice and slender, but still fill it out as well. So you can line your entire floss stash on these if you would prefer.
Yep.
I didn't make them for the floss originally, but yeah, they fit pretty well for a lot of different things.
And Sandy, you're exactly right. Floche would be perfect. These would be absolutely perfect for wrapping floche on, and that would get those great big hanks much more manageable if you did it on these. So you're exactly right. Yes, floche would be perfect. So what was these things you went to get now?
Oh, the floss stars is what I was being asked about, and I know that I have some that are wound, but unfortunately I cannot find those. But this is the floss star, so my hand clearly gives you at least an idea of the scale of it. Um, a bobbin beside it. So they're a little bit bigger than a bobbin. They're not going to fit in your bobbin box, um, but they wind. You're going to get a skein of floss on there, but it's not going to be great for pearl cotton. There's just not enough usable room on the stars for those. Um, it's one of the products that I came up with first. And probably need to revisit and refine a little bit more. They're perfectly fine as they are. There's nothing wrong with them, but I think they could be
They're
better.
pretty. They're pretty. I think that they would make a nice, like if you were doing, well, like I have a lot of boxes that I'm planning on making. It'd be fun to stop laughing at me. Wrap wrap a thread and put it in the box. If I get the box made, are you laughing? He's just
No, I'm just
stop it.
I'm enjoying the moment. I'm just enjoying the moment.
Yeah. Hey, one of these days I'm going to finish one of my boxes, and you're going to be surprised, shocked.
To you, Beth. To you.
I'll show
I'm starting
him.
to feel much
Go
better
ahead,
about
Beth.
not having finished so many projects.
But those are, I think they're beautiful. I think they'd make a nice, a gift if you're doing a gift for somebody, or I don't know. They just look pretty. They just look like fun. Yes, there it is. And the blue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I do have some, and depending on how you want to wind them, there's different patterns that you can come up with. I think one of my kids wound this one. They weren't quite as neat as I was, um, but that's okay. So sometimes it's a big open back uh, and
Yeah.
closed front, but then that one I really like the pattern that one ended up with. It's pretty closed and equal on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that gives you an idea. Each of these is a full skein of floss.
Okay. So that holds a
Yeah.
skein comfortably then.
Yeah, it does hold a skein comfortably. It
Yeah.
does. It isn't going to hold pearl cotton
Right.
comfortably. It's
Right.
just that much more there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, glad I
Yeah.
remembered where those were.
Cool stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
So there you go. What else? You got any other goodies over
Nice.
there at the Lucky Jonquil?
Other goodies. I have Bobbin Girl.
Oh yeah, we got to see Bob and Girl. Yes.
Poppin' girl.
Oh yeah.
Bobbin Girl. Yeah, Bobbin Girl. So this is my paper doll meets floss little girl. Gosh, it's hard to see, but she's got a face on her. There we go. Can you see it?
Yeah,
She's
kind
got
of.
a
Yeah.
little star in her hair and a hairline and a little smile and two eyes. And
Oh,
so
there it
she's
is.
just a little paper doll. She's got her own little ponytail back here, with that floss user. But then, um, she's acrylic. You can write on the base because it's a full size bobbin, but she comes with a little stand, and so you can dress her up in the fanciest clothes you can find. Um,
Uh,
but then also
Oh,
very intentionally, Bobbin Girl fits in a standard bobbin box.
Oh, okay.
So she just
Nice.
stands up. So you can get easily 5 of them across the
Uh-huh.
standard base piece. Um, so that's Bobbin Girl. I think she's fun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's just fun stuff that you're doing with your laser cutter there. You really come up with some creative things. It's really neat. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
very cool.
it's been a lot of fun trying to figure out how to get the ideas out of my head and actually, into a format that I can cut. That took me a better part of a year probably to really wrap my head around the design software necessary for that sort of thing. But
Yeah.
once I did, I feel like I'm off to the races. Now it's just trying to keep up with my ideas and actually formulate pricing and photographs and everything else just so it can be listed online because otherwise, I've,
Right.
got only half done, which is why the glitter isn't up yet. It just needs a little more work.
This is
There
the
you go. That's a cute picture of Bobbin Girl.
there's the Lucky Jonquil website here, and here's the Bobbin Girl. Yeah, it shows up a little clearer there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cute. So yeah, so luckyjonquil.com, and she also does jewelry, so you could get some earrings while you're there too.
Yeah. I've got a couple of different things that I'm working on. None of those are anywhere near ready, but I'm hoping to have jewelry kits where you can stitch them or you can not stitch them, but it's kind of its own little side project that will definitely, have some sort of embroidery theme to it.
Tell about these things. What's the story on these stitch discs?
It was one of my original ideas was to create something else to embroider on. And I will admit that this pattern is not my own design. I was still learning how to use the laser, and so I purchased a pattern online with a full resale license and cut it out of a really pretty birch plywood and then spent a lot of time putting polyurethane on them so that
Oh,
they're really nice and smooth. So polyurethane and sanding and more polyurethane, making sure holes are still clear so that you can get in them. And then by the time you add on floss and other stuff, that accounts for the price. But I had a lot of fun stitching that one, but the amount of work that I was putting into it, I only made so many, and I haven't made any in a while now. And at some point, I think I'll go back to it. But I was also thinking the other day, it might be fun to actually just cut one of those out in acrylic,
yeah.
which in the long run may be an easier thing to do. Um, but I really here I've got mine up here. But I really had a very fun time with those. Um, so that's the one that's in picture,
Yeah.
and it
It's,
hides the mess in the back pretty well.
they're just a neat
So
idea.
that one's it's not see through. Yeah. This one I thought was a lot of fun. It was a little sampler. So you
Hmm.
got lazy daisies, colonial knots, the woven wheel, back stitch, and stem stitch. Um, and it just stands on its own. You almost need a plate stand. You don't need a frame or anything else.
Yeah.
It's not fabric. Um, so it's just a little different.
Yeah.
Just a
Yeah.
little
The
different.
production on those,
But I
though, I
like
can
the warmth
imagine.
of against the thread.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely took a while. I'll need to do some batching next time I work on that. And I
Yeah.
also found out recently that cutting all of that wood leaves a lot more residue on the lenses that I recognized. So I did a deep clean of the laser this weekend and
Oh.
cleaned a lens that I hadn't dug out yet and was like,
Oh.
oh, okay. Maybe I should have paid attention to that one.
Now, somebody mentioned your
Ah,
marking pens.
Yeah,
oh yeah.
I when I cross stitch, I often use marking pens. I have not been able to endure actually, placing grid lines. I'm scared to write on my fabric, even with the, heat sensitive erasable pens. Um, but I had bought at a stitching shop a long time ago a little set of marking pens that I really just loved. But I had enough beads and everything laying around. I was like, there's no reason I can't make some marking pens. Um, so then it was figuring out what glue to use. But uh, yeah, I have little marking pens in most of my projects, and uh, just ones that I thought would coordinate with the project. I'm as happy with marking pens as I am needle minders. Which at
Uh-huh.
some point I will get around to needle minders, but I haven't done that yet.
Well, I have a couple. I find them
One thing at
handy
a
from
time.
time to time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They're not terribly long pens because I would stab myself to death on them if they were long. So they're fairly short. Even the long ones are fairly short, but they're high quality base needles, so they're not gonna rust in your fabric or cause any problems.
Yeah. Yeah, they're neat. Yep.
Yeah, nice. Nice. It's nice to have.
What other toys we got in here? See if I can spend some more money.
Yeah.
You never know
So
what you might find.
yeah. Now, I mean, I've got quite a few things in the shop that are not things that I made. So I have done some wholesale purchasing for retail in general. So I have a good majority of the Cosmo floss line,
Mm-hmm.
because I fell in love with the Cosmo line a couple of years ago. Um, and it was an excuse to beef up my own stash.
Yeah.
If I carried the whole line, I
Yeah.
could easily cover that.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I was in the really good hoops, the really nice solid hoops with the really sturdy screws at the top.
Uh-huh.
I ordered some of those. Um, so really, I mean, those almost framing pieces in and of their own right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I had scissors. Those have all sold out, and unfortunately, I haven't been able to put an order big enough together to restock on those. Um, but I will say at this point, my own stuff sells a lot better than all of the retail stuff. So
Yep.
I don't I don't need to be competing with everybody else that's already online by and large. But
Yeah.
I wanted
Right.
to be able to put some accessories that would go with the things that I'm making so that, you don't necessarily have to shop all over the place.
Yeah.
Because I've definitely had to order from one shop and then another shop and then another shop to get all the things I want.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But
Yeah. Sashiko threads. I missed that. Hmm.
Sashiko, it is a traditional Japanese embroidery. I actually took a class online from a lady in Japan, and it is fantastic. Um, the thread is a non-divisible thread, but it's kind of like floss, uh, pretty close to a six-strand floss volume. Um, but as I said, non-divisible, and it's it's spun a little differently. But the entire purpose is to go through the fabric entirely, just from one side of the fabric to another. Um, oh, there we go. Yeah, so here's a coaster that is sitting on my desk. This is the one that I made um, in that class. But the back side of it,
Mm-hmm.
still has threads coming. So, I mean, it was just a straight from one side to the other all the way through, and then other threads went. This one has threads that were woven on top, but um, yeah, I had a lot of fun making some of these.
Oh yeah.
Like
That's
that
a fun
kit's
technique.
actually, yeah, that kit's actually in the shop, and the thread for it. But it comes with the set of four, so you cut out the fabric. Um, and then the thread on the back, that's actually woven in between the layers of fabric.
Oh.
So you only poke the needle through a single layer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, there was a series of four that I stitched up in different colors and left them at various stages. There's my final one that I haven't sewn together, but it's just pinned. So
Yeah. Hmm.
um,
Fun
but
technique.
I had a lot of fun with that for a little while. Yeah, it was completely new to me. I hadn't heard of it, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, that's really the best thing I can say. The one that I did on my own um, from the class, I actually used a fabric that had grid dots on it, and
Mhm.
when you wash the fabric after you're done, the grid dots disappear.
Yeah.
So they were water soluble. Yeah. So it sits on my desk and keeps my water cup from puddling all over the
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
It dries pretty well. Traditionally, though, my understanding for what I learned in the class was that in Japan, a lot of the area is mountainous and so therefore very cold, but the original fabrics they had were often very thin. And in order to produce warm clothing, they would use this particular embroidery to place several thin sheets together. And then the weight of the threads as you ran more and more layers actually bulked up the clothes.
Hmm.
Um, and provided something that was once thin into something that was actually really quite durable, rugged, and warm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they sure are beautiful colors. Wow.
Mhm.
There's a nice something to them.
Hmm.
Is that cotton or wool?
It's cotton.
Is
It's
it?
not wool. It is cotton.
Almost has a wool look to it. Huh.
A little bit. There's definitely no shine. They're very matte.
Yeah. Hmm. Fun.
And it's basically just a running stitch, correct? That you
Pretty
do with
much. Yeah.
Sashiko.
Yeah. Yeah. And you use really long needles, and usually you have a a hand pad thimble so that you can push it with the pad of your hand.
Oh.
Hmm.
Because you go through, you just rock it through almost like you're quilting in large sections, and then you push it and pull it all the way through and flatten your
Hmm.
fabric out, and then go back and do more.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I remember there's a trick to doing the turning, like turning a corner at like if it
Hmm.
was a point. Yeah, so you didn't go
You have to leave extra thread in
right.
those corners. You always got to leave extra thread because otherwise you end up sucking it into that corner and nothing will lay flat after that.
Hmm. It was fun. Yeah, it's a fun technique.
Yeah.
Fun to learn something new.
That's neat. I didn't know there was a official thread for that, but yeah, pretty neat. Yep. Lots of fun toys on your site. Yay.
Hmm.
LuckyJonquil.com.
Well, thanks.
Check it out. Yep. And Jenny will be our guest Sunday, so be sure and listen to that. Wow, that was fun. Yep. Oh, thanks to 3 or 4 people wrote. We had mentioned in a podcast about these cable things instead of because I remember I went to Lowe's and couldn't get big enough rings, and then the subject of these cable things came up. So I got some different colors. But the cool thing I learned, it didn't occur to me, was that you need a bigger one. You just put 2 or 3 together, and you get a big honking hoop. And now we can play romper room again, can't we? Can't we?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
yeah. Hi, Carrie. Oh,
Yeah. So
um,
thanks to the people who suggested those. Yep.
so someone wanted to know, Sharon wanted to know, do the bobbins work with Appleton wool?
Um, the standard bobbins,
Yeah, I don't know.
I have not tried them with Appleton wool. I don't actually have any on hand. How thick is it? Do you know offhand?
It's certainly number 5 thick, I would think, right? I think it is.
Yes,
Yeah,
I would think so.
yeah.
If it's number 5, I think they would definitely fit on the bobbin pegs, unless the length is a ton longer than the pearl cotton.
I don't think
Um,
so. Well, I shouldn't say that.
Just a minute here. Let me see. Seems like I have some
but
of
I
that.
think the notches that are in the standard bobbin should fit them just fine. There's enough there that should hold the ends.
This is the Heathway wools that Kathy Andrews uses. Let me just see. I got these cut for a project, but Appleton I think is a little heavier and thicker than this, though. I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure.
I guess what I need to do is take a day trip up to Asheville and just take half my stash with me and
Yeah.
see what fits on what.
See, they would work. They would work on these.
On those bobbin pegs, yeah.
Yeah. And even if it
And
was
that
a
would
little
be
thicker,
nice
Yeah, the
because
bobbin
those
pegs
skeins, they
hold.
get messy.
yeah.
Yeah, those bobbin pegs do hold a little bit more. So for the comparison, this one
Hmm.
is the floss, and this one is number 5 pearl cotton. So you can
Hmm.
see the difference
Yeah.
uh, in size once it's wound. But I think you could certainly put more on than what this one has, and it would still fit comfortably.
Yeah.
Um, I just wanted to test it out or to show it with. But the bobbins, the floss bobbins themselves, when those are full and have floss on them, um, they look about like this.
Hmm.
Like that's a wound bobbin with a full skein of floss on it.
Yeah.
So by the time you've got by the time I mean, you still got room there that you could put, you know,
Yeah. A little more.
more
Yeah.
Hmm.
on and still have it fit nicely. So
Hmm.
um, I think
Yeah.
so. I just can't say that definitively.
Yeah. Yeah. I just remember Appleton wool being a little thicker than this
He,
Heathway,
yes, I think you're right.
because that was what when I first saw Heathway, that's what I liked about it. It wasn't a heavy wool feel, but yeah, that would work.
Hmm.
That would work great on these things. No problem.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. There you go.
Well, I am looking at doing some larger bobbins because I'm a I'm a knitter at heart and have yarn all over the place, and
Uh,
having something that I could wind leftovers on, or if I'm doing color work in smaller bits, having something to wind that sort of thing on. I've been trying to think about that sort of thing, but I wasn't even thinking about the fact that we use wool in embroidery too. So I think, yeah, I'm gonna have to move that to the top of the list of figuring out what would fit the best.
yeah. The cruel
See,
people.
now you got me spending money.
It's what we do.
Now I gotta buy more floss
It's
and
what we do.
threads.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Yep.
What an enabler.
It's a side benefit we offer. Yeah. It's
Yes.
yeah.
We're
But
always here for you.
but for cruel people, cruel wool on these on that wood stand, that would be
Hmm.
that would be where it's at. Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah. I like that. And making one of those wood stands, if you know somebody who does woodwork, piece of cake. because that's just a drill press into a piece of wood at intervals, and these go right in there. Do those, in the one you have, do they fit snug, or are they just resting in there?
Um, we've got a little bit of a difference. Some of them are real snug and some of them are real loose.
Oh,
So the
yeah.
one I keep grabbing tonight is my loosey goosey one,
Yeah.
but some of them are super snug. In fact, as I was making, that was one of the tweaks I made, is I shrank the sides a little bit to make sure. So I can't really say. I think most of the looser ones are the newer ones.
Okay.
The some of the tighter ones are the originals. Because I didn't want to have to yank it back out. I wanted them just to come out.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what size hole she used. Um, but the measurement that I cut to is on my listing. So if somebody wanted to make their own cut, I would just say
Yeah.
give it a tiny bit of extra space.
Well, I'm
And
sure that, yeah, there'd be no problem finding a drill that would pop a hole in the wood just right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Find a
Yes.
nice piece
yeah,
of
but I
wood.
mean they were honed to be that same.
Yeah.
The holes were cut for these,
Oh,
and
okay.
I made it
Yeah.
to fit in those holes.
Oh, yeah. You get a
Yeah.
nice chunk of wood, drill some holes, put a little stain on it, set them right up there in front of you. Yep. Makes you
Great.
look professional. That's what it does.
Yeah.
Professional. Yep. What time is it? Oh my, what happened? It's 10 after already. All right,
We had fun.
we did. Well,
Yes.
then, yeah, we better wrap up. Uh, Sharon Saunders. Sharon, we owe you. Next Wednesday, Beth and I will talk about it on the podcast next Wednesday. But this is something I thought was interesting. Sharon Saunders wrote to me today that buying supplies online for me is fine with fabrics and threads, or with patterns and threads, but for fabrics, I find it hard. I'm getting older, and even with good lighting and magnifier, I still need to purchase a fabric that has more open weave. I also stitch in hand now, so I need the fabric to be pliable, not too stiff or too flimsy. I love working with 36 count linen so I can use one strand of thread. And she wondered if we could talk about what linens would give an open weave and have some hand to them, not be
Hmm.
stiff. And so Beth and I will talk about that next Wednesday. But if you have some of your favorite linens, if anybody out there has some favorite linens that they like that offer that a more open weave and uh, flexible, not stiff, send us some of those names so we can include them. Because what were you saying, Beth, in an email about somebody who?
Someone said that we were talking about it at Guild last night. That someone was using Picture This Plus,
Yeah.
and it's the whatever their dyeing process is, it shrinks it just enough that the 37 is very tight. And I said, so I wouldn't want to get a 46 count then. They said no, it'd be super hard to stitch with that. They were having trouble. It was very, so it does. Sometimes when they over dye it, it tightens the weave. Now some people like it when it's I don't mind it being tight, but if you're looking for something that's a little more open, you got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
And I've never tried Picture
I
This
wonder if
Plus, so
that
it's like
makes a
now they got me
difference
all
in the
curious.
color.
Well,
I love Picture This Plus. I've used both
A lot.
their Ada and their linens and haven't had any issues. But I wonder if it's color specific, because different dyes
Maybe.
will react with the cotton or swell it or deposit more,
Hmm.
or even need to be processed, I think, sometimes at a
Right.
different temperature, and that might make a difference.
Now, do you use a higher count, the 45 count? Or are you
I
using,
don't use 45. I think
okay,
I was using 32 because I
okay,
like
so that
mine
makes a
smaller.
difference. Hmm.
Yeah. So I've never tried 45, but I'm usually in the 30s because I like mine tighter uh than what seems to be standard, but not that one at that level. I haven't
Okay,
gotten to that one yet. So,
yeah,
but it feels so soft in the hand. but I can,
Hmm.
yeah, by the time you're getting to that small count, it might get harder to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And someone said Kathy Ray, Kathy at Needle in a Haystack. These,
Oh, you got
this
the
pack, the 4-pack, which she offers.
yeah.
And this is all legacy linen, 37 count.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's nice, and because then you can see the colors. And then, so this was the neutrals. I think she has a bright, or she used to. I don't know if she still has them, but they're a nice size of linen, so you can try them,
Right.
right? And then same. I have I have a whole stack here next to me because So like Bestitch Me, this is a 40 count. That's okay. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I've stitched with her 40 count, and I find it's nice. I don't think it's too. It might be. I don't think it's for me. It's not too tight.
Yeah.
So and I have some of those XJU. I have not Jude Design. I've never purchased any of hers. It's hard to say. I think you
Yeah.
need to try it.
So it's almost like send me swatches of a bunch of different ones, and then I'll
Mm-hmm.
sort it out and find the ones I like. Because that's nice. Now I don't care for modeled stuff, but that is really nice.
This is gingerbread from Bestitch Me. Several of us found we had managed to find it, get it in our stash. We were discussing it last night at Guild. So,
That's a
isn't that
nice
pretty?
color. Wow, I like
Yeah,
that color.
yeah, it's gorgeous.
Mm.
And no, I have no idea what I'm going to stitch on it. But the other one I like too is Fox and Rabbit.
Yeah,
Fox and Rabbit, their weave is really nice. I have, what do I have here?
yeah. I've got
Well, I have
Eureka.
oh, you have Eureka?
Yeah, I've got Eureka here.
This
What do
is
you have?
blowing out. This is dragon fruit because I like the name.
That's pretty.
I'll never stitch on it,
I
but I
like that
like the
color a
name.
lot.
I'm Beth.
You like that? You like it too? See, Jenny's with me. How many are with me?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have you ever
yeah.
tried dragon fruit? You go to the
No.
grocery store and get a dragon fruit. Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to do that. And this is 36 count, and this is really open. I mean, I don't think this is bad at all. If you
This
were
is
stitching in hand,
yeah. This is Eureka 40 count, and I would suggest that it's fairly open, but it's also 40 count.
right?
But I don't think this is too stiff. See, that's the other thing, it's like how long is a piece of string? How stiff is too stiff? Yeah, everybody has a different.
Right.
Because I like a little stiffness, but because some of that stuff is so floppy that I just feel like you can't get any tension.
You want to go back and starch it,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
right? But she's stitching in hand, so and I think is she stitching totally in hand, or she's got a hoop in her hand that she's stitching?
yeah. She didn't
Because that
say,
all
just
makes a
in hand.
difference.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you're right, Sandy and Kathy. Zweigert purchased the Witchell base. I know I heard someone say like Perman. Is it Perman? Linens are stiff, like they're really stiff, but they're great if you're making like a box shape because it truly is even both ways,
mm.
which makes a difference if you're trying to assemble a box.
Good point. Boy, yes.
So, all right,
So
so
okay, all right. Well, now, so if you have some suggestions, send them to Beth or me. You just send them to Gary at WeTalkFiber.com, and Beth and I will talk more about this on next Wednesday's podcast. But Sharon has she raises a good question. And it isn't just the linen. She got my wheels spinning as we get older and the eyes get weaker. You know, what other things do we have to look at so we can keep stitching? You know, where do we have to give a little so you can keep stitching where the 20-year-olds can do 80 count, you know, and it looks like big gaping fence holes. But yeah, so it got me thinking about, you know, other places that we're all headed to someday. Yep.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. I think we're going to call it there. Send your email right there, right below Best Chin, Gary at WeTalkFiber.com. One email for the Quaker Ball entry, and one email to win one of the 2 kits from Krista West. And Krista West, you know, is a regular sponsor and help supporter of Fiber Talk, so please support her. And if you buy because we made you buy it, then let her know. But so those 2 kits. So get those in right away because I'll go do the drawing here in just a couple of minutes. And remember, Sassy Jacks. Now, if you are interested in that garden-esque workshop, act quick. Get over to
Yes.
sassyjackstitchery.com and act quick so that you can get a seat. And because I know Kim, once she gets down to when I got to order, those shops got to order or they won't have the stuff in time. Then the class doesn't work out and blah, 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 blah. So, and then luckyjonquil.com is where you go to get all these fun toys for organizing your thread. Really cool stuff. Yeah, what frost white and clear of the swatch thread drops with maybe glitter coming.
Yeah, glitter coming.
Glitter
Limited
coming.
edition, but glitter coming.
Glitter
Yeah.
coming, limited edition. And then for your thicker threads, the clothespin, wrap them up, or you can get the bobbins, all kinds of things there. Fun stuff. Yep. All right, there we go. We're done. Thanks
All
for
right.
joining us, Jenny.
Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you.
Thanks to everybody. Jenny, this Sunday is a conversation with Jenny. We had a great time talking about how she got to where she's at and what she's doing and where she's headed. Really interesting stuff. So be sure and catch that on Sunday. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.